Hey everybody, welcome back. Now, recently we've been talking a lot about habits, and I really like this topic just because I think it's so crucial for language learning, but it's also so helpful in other areas of life. So I feel like these videos are kind of like a multi-tool that you can use for all kinds of stuff. The other reason why I really like talking about this now is that, I've always been someone who found it relatively easy to sort of develop really good, healthy habits. And I think it's just because I'm always so inspired and excited and motivated pretty much all the time. But earlier on in my career, sort of trying to help people learn languages and in general, I found that it was actually kind of difficult because lots of people don't operate like that. And I think actually the majority of people, it's really difficult to form new habits and break bad ones. So this video, it's not so much about what has worked best for me, although it has been important, but this is sort of my biggest tip for successfully building new positive habits in language learning and in general that has worked for like everyone that I have personally worked with over the last 10 years. So in my opinion, the absolute biggest and best thing that you can do to build a new habit is essentially to commit to any amount of time at all every day. Now let me explain. When I'm working with someone that's trying to learn a new language and they are struggling to sort of make this a daily activity, what I tell them to do is commit to just 10 minutes every day. Now the reason for this is that very often people have a tendency to sort of shoot for the stars, right? So they say, well, in an ideal world, I would like to study languages for 1 hour per day, or I'd like to learn piano for 1 hour per day. 1 hour feels like a really sort of round number. It's a nice metric to go by. But then what happens is very quickly people realize that, oh, geez, like 1 hour is quite a lot of time. And I think people get overwhelmed, and especially when starting something new, there's often this sort of like inertia, right? This resistance, something holding you back from just getting started. So in my experience, 10 minutes is a much easier number for somebody to commit to. Just about everybody can admit that, okay, no matter how busy I am, if this is something that's important to me, that I want to do, surely I can find just 10 minutes to sit down with myself and to do this thing. But the secret to this 10 minutes is it's rarely ever 10 minutes. And by the way, this is not like you're lying to yourself. So 10 minutes is a perfectly valid amount of time to sit down every day and do something. It's a hell of a lot better than 0. And in my opinion, it's also better than doing 1 hour of something like once in a while. So it's great because even if you actually do 10 minutes every day, that's really gonna add up over time, and you can definitely make massive progress in any kind of skill or endeavor over time, accumulating 10 minutes every single day. However, I have found that what really happens is that this 10 minutes, it's enough to sort of break that inertia. It actually gets you moving, and very often you end up in the zone, right? So 10 minutes actually goes by really quickly, and oftentimes before you even realize it, you've done 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And so I have tried this with literally hundreds of students and clients that I had when I was doing language coaching and teaching, and it's actually very rare people actually just do 10 minutes. I found that between 20 and 30 minutes is sort of average. And very often, especially after this really does become a habit, it's very common for people to actually sort of voluntarily increase this time increment to 1 hour. But the point is, at that point, you've already established the habit. It is much easier. You don't really have the inertia anymore. You kind of look forward to it. You're excited to sit down and do whatever it is you want to do. So just to recap, the reason why I think this may be my biggest secret to sort of building and forming positive, healthful language learning habits is that A, committing to even just 10 minutes, it ensures that you at least do something every day, which truly is valuable. And B, very often 10 minutes ends up being 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and this sort of accumulates into a much larger impact than you imagined, and it also still becomes a habit that you can then sort of increase as you want, and you'll be able to sort of find new times in the day. Maybe you'll start actually, using dead time and experimenting with that. Before you know it, you can actually end up finding several hours a day between sort of dedicated study time and lots of dead time. And that's really it. This is a pretty, short, snappy video. I'm really excited to get your feedback because this really actually has been pretty instrumental in my own life. For me, it's particularly because I do so many things, and very often it sort of seems overwhelming to add another thing to my day, another thing to my life. And so I very often sort of trick myself by just committing to 10 minutes, and because it always seems like, well, I can fit 10 more minutes of something else in. And then I end up somehow just fitting it in, and next thing you know, I'm doing it for 30 minutes a day, or maybe even an hour. Sometimes I don't even know how I get all the time to keep doing all these things, but it really works very well. But again, this is less about me and it's more about sort of my experience with working with different people around the world in different cultures and environments. And it seems pretty universally successful that just getting people to commit to that small time every single day, it's easier for them to do, and it really does lead to success. So please let me know if this is something you've already tried, and if this is new information, I'd really love to sort of know in the comments, what is the daily habit that you're going to try to commit to today for just 10 minutes every day, and please keep me updated on how that habit goes.